Hi, everyone. I'm Young Oprah.
I'm Young Whomever.
And we in the building, son.
Welcome to our mixtape.
Another round with Heben and Tracy. No one would listen to our mixtape.
I was going to say I would listen to it. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's a lie from the pits of hell.
What do we have on the show today, Trace?
Today, we have, once again in the studio, the guy, Stacey Marie, here to fix your lives and just upgrade your entire existence.
Stacey's Career Corner has helped millions of people. That's a real number. So we're excited to have her back to help out more millions.
Yes. We're also going to debut a new segment that I'm personally very excited about. It's called You're Cut Off. You'll see. And we're also going to talk to one of our good friends and one of our favorite writers, Miss Ashley Ford. We're going to talk about writing and reading and black girl stuff and money and everything.
And her obsession with Kenny Loggins.
We should
of all humans.
there, honestly. I don't get it. As somebody who also has a lot of weird obsessions, so let me not judge.
Yo.
Let me not cast the first stone.
Tom Hanks.
That is not weird. That is a completely logical obsession. Everybody, it is time once again for our very own DJ Caribbean Vibes.
Hey.
Known also as Stacey Marie Ishmael to come in and change your life. She is answering your career-related questions at Stacey's Career Corner. Hello, Stacey Marie.
What up, what up? Okay, so our question today deals with perceived inequality at work. Listen. It's a specific question, but I think we will all resonate with it. Depressed sigh. The listener asks, I'm in a situation at work where I know that other people with the same title get paid more than me, yet seem to be held to significantly lowered standards in terms of expectations and overall responsibilities. I try really hard to focus on my own responsibilities and wonderful clients, which I do enjoy, but I am a human and at times find myself becoming bitter and resentful. Listen. Bitter and resentful watching the way that other people coast and don't get called out.
Oh, God.
The way I know I would be. I'm a 31-year-old black male in senior management position at a company with 125 employees. Traditionally, women of color have to work twice as hard to get half as far, and there are gender perceptions that could create negative consequences when women in my situation advocate for themselves or raise concerns. That's exactly how I feel because I work in an organization where our CEO and most people in leadership roles are older, white, homosexual women. I've seen people get promoted despite fucking up client relationships, and it's hard not to draw inferences as to why the behavior is tolerated, especially since I've seen the other young minority talent reprimanded or demoted altogether for similar issues.
Why is he still working there?
Woo! All right, almost done with the question. But I'm afraid that if I say anything, people will see it as some type of angry black man stereotype, and I will undo years of painstaking code switching that we're also unfortunately familiar with, and ultimately I will alienate myself from the leadership.
Somebody's going to throw a chair.
And ultimately that I'll alienate myself from the leadership team. How do I ask for greater equity and fairness in the workplace?
Okay, 3 things. One is you are never judged at work on your work. You are judged on a combination of your work and how people feel about the work that you're doing and how they feel about you. And I suspect, from what he says, that he does not necessarily participate in all of the informal but so important like social niceties around how this office functions, because his rage is not necessarily the word, but deep resentment of the situation that he's in comes across as, I would imagine that if there's a lunch, the people that he works with will go sit together at a table and he will go back to his desk and isolate himself, because it would be very hard for somebody with like this many perceived and probably actual slights to fully engage and fully participate in anything beyond the work. And in the environment that he describes, it's a relatively small company with a tight-knit leadership team, of which he is a part. It's difficult to kind of get over feeling that you're already being excluded and trying to reintroduce yourself into that conversation. So that's already a tough dynamic. Because so it sounds to me like what he's saying is, I've done so well at blending in that if I were to be like, what's going on here? Suddenly they'd be like, oh, we hired a black guy.
They ain't forget.
Whoa, how did that get through HR? And so, there's this really strong kind of underlying impression of he doesn't feel that he's allowed to be himself. He doesn't feel that he's allowed to advocate for himself. And he doesn't think that he's allowed to raise the issue that he thinks that he's being treated unfairly. And if if that email had said any one of those things, you could have said, okay, you need to kind of sit down and do a little bit of self-analysis around, is it worth you staying here? What are some of the immediate things that you can do? How can you help people understand your perspective without necessarily making it about you, right? So if he's in leadership and he's noticing that other people in more junior positions feel excluded, then perhaps he could try actively including them and see what happens. Because, and this is kind of like a minority burden, but so often you might not be allowed to advocate for yourself, but you might be able to advocate for people who are very similar to you, especially if you're already in a position of power.
Wow. But
just in general, it really sounds to me like this is a very difficult work environment for him to be in, and he needs to figure out how to stop being angry with it first in order to be able to like do anything towards moving forward.
You're so smart.
Oh my God. I don't know how to like bring that up.
I mean, one of the things you could ask is, hey, I've noticed that I do a very similar job to so-and-so. I find that, I'm getting great feedback from my clients, and I'd like to discuss a little bit more about like how we can make sure that, like the next round of promotion discussions or the next round of so-and-so, I can move into a position that I feel is like commensurate with my performance. The overwhelming temptation is to be like, but they suck. Like, how are they so terrible and still getting paid this?
Woo.
When, that might be what you yell in the mirror at night. But in that conversation that you're trying to have, it's more about, you need to make it not about you and about the situation. And that can be so hard to do when you're in the middle of it. It can be so hard because one, what he's describing is a workplace in which those people are friends and those people have like social ties and community ties and cultural ties that go beyond just the jobs, just the titles and everything else. And you are much more willing to look past underperformance when you like someone and when you feel like this person is like you and you probably walk your dog together, or you might run into them at your Whole Foods rather than
that was coded.
Rather than if you're like, oh well, yeah, but like he never comes to the after work drinks with us, so like whatever.
What are some other things not to do in this situation?
Assume that they are being actively racist because there are so many more layers to this. It could be that you're in a female dominated workplace, which is go more power to them.
Rare.
But that means you're definitely not participating in some of the conversations that you're having. Whenever you are a minority group, even if it is within another minority group, there are conversations that are happening that you are not aware of. There's like stuff happening above your head that you are not aware of. And so they might be reacting to something that is not necessarily specific to you, but specific to them that you have no visibility into.
So just to backtrack a little bit, in a situation where you feel like there is somebody who has your same position, who is getting paid more or is getting more whatever than you are, when you take it to your boss, should you not mention this other person at all?
I think it depends on how much you trust yourself to not come across like an asshole. So, if you come across like, this person, like, why? Then I'm just gonna be like, dude, grow up. But if you say, hey, Sam and I have both performed like exceptionally well, or, Sam and I are both being measured on these metrics, and this is how I've done in January, long silence.
Pregnant pause.
It's about, because it's often a temptation to feel that in order to succeed, you have to point out the flaws of others. And that is like a very slippery slope.
So at what point should you start to wonder if race is a factor?
I mean, if you're brown, like, all the time. I feel like this is something that we pretty much, you're constantly white. Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm brown? Is it because my hair looks like... You don't know. But so what you have to eliminate is any of the other potential factors.
So don't lead with that.
Exactly.
Got it.
Stacey, you be knowing.
I know, my gosh.
As always, Stacey Marie, thanks for changing our lives.
Good luck to that dude, man. That's a rough situation.
Yeah.
Hold it down in the struggle, yo.
We are praying.
Definitely polish your resume.
Polish up your LinkedIn. I don't know why I'm a Long Island woman.
Your LinkedIn, you gotta do it.
As always, y'all, you can find Stacey Marie on Twitter
at S_M_I.
And you can find all her work on the BuzzFeed News apps on iOS and Android.
Yo.
Thanks, Stacey.
Bye.
Thanks, Bo.
Okay, so y'all know that we love to hear your voices and your stories when we ask you random questions like, what's the craziest microaggression you've ever heard? What's the wildest street harassment story you have? And now there is a super, super easy way to send them directly to us without having to like record it on your phone and then go to another like screen or app or whatever and email it to us. If you download an app called Roll Tape, then you can record your story and send us the stories in the same app. You don't have to exit the app. You don't have to open up your email. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can be as lazy as you want to be.
Wait, but also you can be as proactive as you want to be. You can add music, pictures. It's a little bit, honestly, like a little micro podcasting situation.
And what's even cooler is not only can we hear it, but other listeners can hear it too, because we always get so many responses to the questions that we ask. And unfortunately, we can't play all of them because this is a short show. But this way, they don't just like disappear into the cloud or wherever they go.
Are you 80?
Yes.
I love the idea of our
off my lawn.
Our listeners like meeting each other or like hearing each other's stories. That's dope.
Right now we have 3 different questions up for you to answer. One of them is, what is the dumbest conversation you've ever had while high? Heaven's cackling.
I can't remember the conversations. They were that bad. But I will say there's a thing I do while I'm high. You know how Kendrick is like, bitch, don't kill my vibe? That is very much how I am while high. And there's a certain point where I'm like about to be high, but someone's getting in the way.
Explain this to me, because
So here's how petty I am.
Okay.
Sometimes I will get so irritated while I'm in that plane of high where it's almost to the top, almost to the peak, but there's a thing distracting me. And if you ask me a dumb question while I'm high, I will turn the other way, physically roll my eyes, and then come back to the conversation. I have to get the eye roll out.
But like, aren't all questions dumb when you're high?
No.
I'm a novice here, so
Are you high right now?
Maybe.
No, all I'm saying is I'm very petty when I'm high.
What does it mean for somebody to kill your high, kill your vibe?
It's like they're talking about something like, fam, why are we concerned about that right now? It depends on like the setting, obviously. So I'm imagining like a party vibe situation, chill social situation.
And somebody's like, well, Donald Trump, what do you think about him?
I'm like, bruh, why are you doing this?
So if you're ever talking to Heaven and she physically turns her back to you, rolls her eyes, and then comes back.
I'm a lot more stealthy with it than I think I am.
Okay. I feel nervous because I feel like this is my first time coming out as somebody who occasionally dabbles.
Okay.
I was smoking with a friend and I was talking about sneezing and sneezes and whether or not it's like a thing that's kind of like blinking or breathe. Like you do it and you don't realize it. You don't mark it. You don't remember it. Like, have you sneezed today? How do you know?
I'd be sneezing. I feel like it's notable the days I don't.
Did you sneeze yesterday?
No.
When's the last time you sneezed?
I don't know. It's been a minute.
I remember being very fascinated by whether or not I could remember when I sneezed. And so the next day I would sneeze, be like, oh shit, I sneezed. I need to remember this.
Mark this moment.
I gotta remember it.
So if you have stories like that,
I'm sure you do.
Please send them our way.
We'll also be like listening to the stories. We're going to listen to everyone and we might air your story in a future episode.
What?
Oh my God. But this is important. If you want your story aired in a future episode,
keep it short, y'all.
Like 30 seconds to a minute.
Keep it short. Keep it short.
Right. For more information, go to rolltape.fm. And we can't wait to hear from you. So we would like to introduce a new segment that we have called You're Cut Off. This is like when somebody's like being drunk and belligerent and annoying at a bar and the bartender's like, all right, you're done here. You're cut off.
Yeah.
We just want to rant about some stuff.
I believe my name is Heaven Rants for a reason.
Heaven, who or what is cut off today?
White people who think they invented everything.
Oh my gosh.
You're cut off. White people have appropriated so many things that they think they invented them.
Yes.
Have you ever heard a white girl talk about yoga as if she was the center of yoga and not brown ass fucking people?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it drives me crazy.
You're cut out.
You're cut off. Just why do you have to center yourself in everything?
Yeah, it's like
you can enjoy and it not be about you.
I really think that white folks just don't know that. It's crazy.
But it's not even, it's like we buy their logic. So now like lacrosse is considered a white sport. It is a Native American sport. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even know that.
Exactly.
Wow. I
They
thought it was
rewrite
like
in history.
the preppiest, like, spoiled little rich white kid sport ever.
Well, it is now.
Cut off, white people.
Cut off. You didn't invent everything. Get out of here.
All right, my glass is a little too light for my liking, so we're going to take a break. I'm going to pay some bills, and we will be back to talk with Ashley Ford. We have a super special treat for everybody. We have a good friend of ours, former coworker, freelance writer, and editor. She's also a teacher at the New School and a thing called Catapult. Maybe she'll tell us more about what that is. She is working on an anthology with Roxane Gay. You may have heard about her, maybe. She's from Indiana, but that's okay. Please welcome to the show, our girlfriend. Sorry.
You guys so southern.
Ashley Ford. Yay.
Ashley.
Hi, guys. Hi.
So happy to have you.
Welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. I miss you both so much all the time, and I love you.
Aww. We love you too. Kenny Loggins. Tell us about your relationship with Kenny Loggins.
Oh, my God. Okay.
To be honest, I still don't even really know who this dude is. I only know it because Ashley be tweeting about him. Who this man?
I love Kenny Loggins.
Okay. Who is Kenny Loggins?
Kenny Loggins is a yacht rock god.
I'm sorry, what?
He is a what? A yacht rock god.
What is yacht rock?
Oh my gosh. And where to even begin? Kenny
So
Loggins
there's
is
like
amazing.
Arena rock, yacht rock.
Yacht rock's amazing. Listen. Okay. Do you know the song Footloose?
Footloose.
Yeah.
Kenny
Footloose.
Loggins.
What?
Do you know the song Danger Zone?
Welcome to the Danger Zone.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Kenny
I do
Loggins.
know those songs.
Yes.
What?
Kenny Loggins. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Caddyshack. There's a song called I'm All Right. Kenny Loggins.
I did not know I knew so many Kenny Loggins songs.
Kenny, listen, he's everything. He's amazing. A teacher introduced me to him because I was also a student that used to like stay after school all the time and sort of like roam the halls illegally because I just didn't want to go home. And also because I love school a lot. And a teacher used to be like, don't just roam the halls. You can come to my room and like write something. And he would have me write. And so I would just sit at the computer in the room and write down like about my day, or I would like write a story, or I would write a poem. And he would always be playing Kenny Loggins in the background. And eventually I was just like, who is this? And he was like, you can borrow the CD. And he let me borrow the CD. And I was like, oh my God, I can't give him back the CD. But I finally did. And then I was having trouble in his class. Like I was falling asleep a lot. And he gave me a tape of lullabies that had belonged to his daughter that helped her go to sleep. And the lullabies were sang by Kenny Loggins. Wow. And the album was called Return to Pooh Corner. And I used to listen to it every night and it would help me sleep. So yeah, I just loved it. And I love him. And he became this weird father figure to me in my mind, to the point where like now when people are like, oh, do you want to meet Kenny Loggins? You know, it's supposed to be like the soft rock that's so soft that like white people feel like they're really jamming when they're like listening to it. And like
on a yacht?
Like on a yacht. Like,
oh my God. What? This is the whitest thing I've ever heard.
It's super white. Like it's so white. I don't know. Michael McDonald was technically part of it.
What? No.
I love Michael McDonald.
I love some Michael McDonald.
But when he was with
rock.
the Doobies, when he was with the Doobies, and he was like, you know, taking her to the street, like that was him, and that
is a great Michael McDonald.
I actually do. Here's the secret to the Michael McDonald impression.
Okay.
You sing and yawn at the same time. That is the secret to the Michael McDonald impression.
Oh my God, you're right.
You know?
I can see it.
So it's like, you know the song I Keep Forgetting?
Okay. Okay.
Not in love anymore.
Oh my gosh.
I keep forgetting things will never be the same again. Yeah. Like it's just
oh my
it's
God.
yawning and singing at
that
the
was
same
incredible. Okay, so what was baby Ashley like?
Oh my gosh. I was a very strange kid who when I was in a room or when I decided to be in the room, you could not get to stop talking. But I often decided not to be in the room and be somewhere else by myself, reading or watching a show I liked, or generally just coming up with stories in my head that I didn't have to explain to anybody else.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
What was that like?
Oh
my
wow.
God, Tracy.
Tracy, I'm so
Why do you have
mad.
such strong feelings about Indiana?
Because it's a terrible place.
Yeah.
See?
Well,
She
let me tell you,
agrees.
I don't agree,
Oh.
but I can tell you that places that are not that great in Indiana, we just add Tucky to the end to describe them. Places like Muntucky,
Wow.
places like Evan-tucky.
Y'all petty. Y'all
Yeah.
petty. And you're wrong. You're
We
wrong
are.
for that. Describe it. Describe it to someone who's never been there.
Well, I guess it would depend on what part of Indiana you're in. Southern Indiana is actually quite southern. Like people. Wow.
I'm just agreeing.
Yeah.
It is.
No. Okay.
There's a little tone in that agreeing.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being Southern. I'm just saying.
No, nothing wrong with being Southern, Tracy. So yeah, it's really, really great down there, I guess. I don't know. I don't go often. It's really interesting because Fort Wayne is oddly diverse for where it is.
What
Like,
does that mean?
like I didn't grow up in really necessarily like black neighborhoods versus white neighborhoods. Like you definitely like did see some separation, but it wouldn't have been strange for anybody of any race to live in one neighborhood versus another.
So what were like the
that was
demographics
just-
in your school?
Well, my school was 96% African American.
Oh shit.
My school system was very black, and part of that was because technically we were a county school. And we were very, very low in numbers. I graduated with a class of 87 people.
Wow.
The neighborhoods that kids came from in that area were generally had like black young people and then white older people. So it wasn't that we didn't have white people in our neighborhoods. It's just that a lot of the white people in our neighborhoods either didn't have kids or had grown kids who were already gone. So it was really interesting. My high school experience was great. I loved high school. Like I know some people look back at high school and they're like, "Oh,
Man.
I made it.
Man.
I made it out." And I don't have that experience.
Anyways.
But I don't have that experience from high school. High school was a lot of fun for me. I made a lot of friends. I did a lot of fun things. I was, such an asshole to
What do
teachers.
you mean?
Oh, to teachers?
Oh, absolutely.
same.
I was such an asshole to teachers.
But for justice, not just to be
Yeah.
petty.
No, I wasn't petty.
For good.
I wasn't petty. I've always had issues with authority, to be perfectly honest. I don't like adults trying to tell me what to do just because they're adults. And that was still very true when I was a young person. I didn't like being talked to like I was stupid. So anytime
Which
somebody
adults be
talked to me
doing.
but like I was stupid, they were put on a list. in my mind.
Your own
I'm writing
notice.
this down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I had that realization that adults are just like, they're just kids that grew up.
Yeah.
Meaning like
Which
they're
is technically
just,
true.
Yeah,
That's
they
what an
are.
adult
meaning
is.
like if I read as much as they read or like get all the information they get, I could also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like there's no real special thing about adults.
Yeah.
No.
And I had that realization very young, so I just did not. I did not see it for adults. I was like, "What do you
Similar.
bring to the table?
I also
I
just
know
had-
more than you."
I had really strong sense of right and wrong. So when I was being told something I did or said was wrong, I needed evidence that it was wrong. Like it wasn't good enough that like this is wrong because it's against the rules. It's like, why is that a rule?
Word.
And why are you telling me to do that? And why do you think you get to tell me to do that? And if that's the rule and I don't like the rule, then how do we change the rule?
So you've been talking back for a while.
I have been talking back for a really long time. Yeah.
So did you live in Indiana until the moment you moved to New York?
I did. I lived in Indiana for 27 years.
I miss grass.
I loved grass. I mean,
R.I.P.
I did. R.I.P. grass. When I lived in Indianapolis, I had a favorite tree, in my neighborhood that I used to visit all the time, and I would go sit under this tree, and it was like 400 years old, and I used to write under it, and I used to like just go there and like almost oddly talk to myself, and a couple of kids in the neighborhood thought I was a witch.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it was actually no, it was actually really great. Like, because they would be like, "Oh, she's coming," like I was the neighborhood witch, and I was like, "I'm cool with that."
Oh my
Sounds
God, that's
dope.
amazing. So, can you tell me a little bit about your stand-up career in Indiana? Like, what?
Right. What? That's the question.
Oh God. Okay. So when I was in college, there was a local bar that did a stand-up situation, and the guys who ran the stand-up situation, one of them was trying really hard to get with my roommate, and he came over one day to our house, and we were all just like sitting around talking, and I was just talking about things and my life, and they were in stitches. Like, they were just laughing, and they could not stop. I mean, like, these deep belly laughs, and they were like, "Why are you not on our show? You need to come be on our show." And I was like, "No, that's cool. You know, like, I'm all right." Yeah, because I mean, part of it was that, first of all, these were white dudes, and black people's standards for funny is so much higher. In my experience, our standards for what makes something funny is typically so much higher than what white people. And also, this was my third year of college. So at this point, I was used to being, because I went to a college that was full of white people. Like, it was the exact opposite of my high school experience. Ooh. So by this point, I was understanding some things about white people. Like, I was really funny there, but I didn't think because I was really funny. I thought, like, because y'all just not used to really funny stuff.
Word. What?
So,
like,
yeah.
What led you to that conclusion? Like, what were the jokes you were making? What were the jokes they were making?
You know, like, to them, every fart is funny. Like, every fart is a funny fart.
Love.
I don't know. But every fart was funny. Like, things that were just offensive were funny to them. And I was like, it's not funny because you said it and it's offensive. Like, that does not a joke make. You know, like, so I didn't really believe them. But I finally was convinced to go up and do it. And I was like, fine, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to tell some of these, you know, like, funny to me ass stories, you know, and then I'm just going to leave. And it
Did you
went
start your
really
set
well.
with what had happened was?
I did not start with what had happened was. I think, like, I started with, I don't even want to fucking be here. Like, I think that's, like, what I said to start my first set. And then I just went into just telling some stories about my family and about, you know, situations from my own life or whatever. And I still, to this day, to be perfectly honest, even though I had a great track record, like, I went up there every week. I started doing comedy more and more, sometimes multiple times a week. And I never had a show where I bombed. Like, but you need that as a comedian. Like, you need to have the bomb, because once you have the bomb, you go, oh, that doesn't hurt. You know, like, it definitely doesn't kill me. So now every time I go up, I have a different confidence, because it's not just like I'm going to do well. It's like, even if I do bad, it's not going to kill me. But I didn't bomb. And I kept... Like, sometimes I felt like a set wasn't even that good, but it was just like the people who were in the crowd were very white. So they felt like I was really funny. And then I was like, this just isn't. And then it just got to a point where it just wasn't worth my time. Like, my heart wasn't really in it. Every time I went to do it, it made my stomach hurt. And I was like, never mind.
Would you do it again?
I've thought about it. But since living here and, like, having friends who are comedians and stuff, this is not a situation where I look at them and go, I could do that. Like, they're all way funnier than me, but I think I could do okay. So I think about it sometimes.
I think you would slay. You're fucking funny.
You should do it. I'll come and heckle you just so you can get that bomb and experience.
Oh my God.
No, I'm doing this for
Why
you.
you always do this?
You know what? You know what? You're right. You deserve better from me.
I do.
So you write a lot of honest personal essays, which I really, really admire. Why do you do it?
I do it mostly for a lot of the same reasons that I talk about writing in any given moment, is because I write to connect. I'm not one of those people who could write in a room and just keep it for myself. You know, like I'm not the kind of person who writes for the pleasure of the action. I write and I tell stories because I'm trying to connect with people, and I'm trying in a lot of ways to be seen. And for a very long time, I felt like, you know, the things I was reading and even the things I loved, I didn't felt seen. I still didn't feel like there was, you know, something about this book or this story that really resonated with me as I am. And I wanted to be able to create things that would resonate with people as they are.
That's beautiful. So, in addition to writing yourself, you are a writing teacher.
Yes.
We get a lot of questions from listeners asking for writing advice, and I never know what to say, mostly because I feel like a hack of a writer at this point in my life. Like,
You're
I don't
not.
write regularly. Thank
Yeah, but
you.
you're still a wonderful writer. You don't ever think you have to write all the day, every day or all the time in order to be a writer. You just have to write.
Right.
At some point. Like, that's it.
I feel really disconnected from the process, though, even because it's something that like has become a really big source of anxiety for me. Like once I started to do it professionally when I was living as a freelancer,
Yeah.
it just got so hard because I was like, okay, if I can't write XYZ thing, I don't eat. I don't pay my rent, you know? And so I would sit down and nothing would happen, and I would get upset and frustrated, and I would put too much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
So
It's really easy to do.
yeah, so I found every excuse in the world not to like write. So I feel really disconnected from the process. So I'd never know what to tell people. I'm like, I don't know. Right.
Also, you slay the freelance hustle, and that shit is hard.
It is
Yeah.
not easy.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I have, at this point, a little bit of name recognition. So editors often come to me. And I am dealing with something that no one ever prepares you to deal with, I think, professionally, which is saying no to things you want to do and
say more.
prioritizing. Well, I feel like so much information out there about freelancing is about getting into it. And a lot of it is about, you know, this is how you want to act with an editor. This is, you know, how you want to promote your work. This is how you want to build a revenue stream, like things like that. But no one really talks about the fact that you can get to a point, and I've seen this happen with lots, like this is not special to me, but with lots of writers, that you can get to a point where people are offering you things that you want to do, but you don't actually have time to do, or you don't have the emotional wherewithal to do, or you're not thinking about the fact that at some point you're going to want to go on vacation or take a break, you know? So I think you don't really get prepared for that as a working person. And I also think that our generation in particular, so many people having graduated or been in college as the recession hit or right at the end of the recession, so many of us are just not used to the idea that we will get to say no to something that we want to do and still be okay, especially financially. And you just have to be figuring those things out, and it's tricky ground. It's very,
Let's
very
talk
tricky.
about money.
Terrifying.
we can
Yeah.
always talk
Every
about money.
freelancer that I know is always like 4 or 5 different publications still owe me money from an article that I wrote for them like a year ago.
Yeah.
How do you survive through that part?
I mean, fuck if I know. It's really, like, I don't know how sometimes I've gotten over. It's one of the, in my opinion, it's the worst thing about being a freelancer is that companies really will just like, you'll email and call and everything, and you'll get the shittiest responses. Oh, your form wasn't attached right the last time. And it's like, oh, well, I sent that 3 weeks ago. It would have been nice if you emailed me and told me that my form wasn't attached right. And then you attach it again, and it's like, oh, well, actually, it wasn't a problem with the form. Our systems are down. And and you
This
would
is stressful
think
just listening to him.
it's terrible. And you would think that like this would be a problem you had with maybe just like smaller places or something like that, or places that are
No,
not like super
your faves.
established.
Yeah.
No, it's your face. It's
the
your
big
face.
ones.
The places that you are going to all the time, the places that are sort of like now getting shamed into, being more transparent about what they're paying their workers and, all of those things. The problem is that these places really have you over a barrel because they've already taken your work.
Right.
They've already published your work. And at this point, it's like they will maybe eventually send you your money, but they're in no hurry. Why should they have to be? Right? So it's really disrespectful and it's really not fun. And I hate it when it happens to me.
Gosh.
But I'm also relentless. Like I have it on my schedule. Like I set myself a reminder. Remember to email them again today and ask where your money is. And they eventually get tired of me and they start sending me my money on time.
So what advice would you give somebody who's looking to get into the world of freelance writing?
I would, first of all, just really ask them to think about what their expectations are for a life of freelancing. I would say a lot of the reasons that people go into freelancing, which are being in control of your own schedule and, sort of cutting out the middleman and making more money. It's like you are cutting out some middlemen, but that also means you're doing the middleman's work, which means, my boyfriend had to basically create an entire like system of spreadsheets and online things just for me to keep track of assignments and due dates and when I've sent an invoice and the number of the invoice and how much this place owes me and whether or not they sent it to me and when I contacted them when it was past due and how many times I've contacted them since then. Yeah. And I'm lucky to have like a person in my life who was able to say, this system that you have right now of writing things down on scraps of paper and just keeping all those scraps of paper on your desk, that's a bullshit system and you can't live like that. So let me help you out. It's really, really hard to do all on your own. Like my boyfriend is a bookseller, and booksellers don't make, much money at all. But there are plenty of times when the fact that he was getting paid regularly saved our asses. Even though I make more money than him, I make a lot more money than him. But just the fact that his money was consistent made a big difference in what we were able to do and how we were able to survive over the past year.
I'm still stressed out just thinking about the process of people just like not giving you your money.
It's very stressful to know you have money out there just floating in the ether. It's stressful to know rent's coming and you should have had $5,000 in checks 2 weeks ago that haven't shown up. Like it's very stressful. And one of the ways to prevent that stress, it's always going to be stressful, but one of the ways that really helps is if you have quite a bit of savings saved up before you go full-time freelance. I had a little bit of savings saved up, not enough. Like I thought I had enough, I did not have enough. And so we had a lot of tense moments financially because of that. Me and my partner, my boyfriend.
What kind of moments?
Well, I would say probably it got really bad last July when I literally had $5,000 in checks out there in the world somewhere, but not with me. And my rent was coming up and it was going to be due. And my boyfriend at that point was also between jobs. He had been temping and his temp job was over and he was about to start a new job. But we were not, for that period, getting money from his side either. And we thought we would be fine because I was getting all these assignments and all this money was going to come in. And when it didn't come in, I had to reach out to family and basically ask them, can I borrow money, until this time? And this is the first time in my life that I've had, first of all, that I've had family I could reach out to, because it's not biological family, but like other kind of family. It's the first time in my life I've had family that I could reach out to and ask. And just the fact that I had to ask was terrible, because you go through so much in your head. It's like, you know, I moved out here and I made these decisions and I decided to become a freelancer. I made all these decisions that led to this moment, and now I have to ask somebody else to bail me out. And lots of people don't have somebody to bail them out.
Right.
So I don't know what happens then.
Was the fact that you make more than your partner ever a source of tension?
No, but I think that's mostly because Kelly has grown up surrounded by women who out-earned all the men in his life. His mother out-earns his father. His aunt out-earns everybody. You know, like she does. She used to be the president of LACMA, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. And now she does consulting and teaches. And, you know, she's this amazing, amazing woman. And he has always grown up around really strong, ambitious women. And he is also ambitious in a different way, but he's never, like, for him, masculinity is not really tied up in the, like, I also have to be the breadwinner and I have to be like providing, you know, or whatever. Like, he definitely grew up with the idea that, no, like, when you're a team, everybody just contributes.
Oh, shout out to feminist boyfriends.
Yes,
Yeah.
feminist
Yeah.
boyfriends.
One of the things we talk a lot about on the show and that you write and tweet about is anxiety and depression. We're big fans.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself through therapy?
Oh my goodness, everything. That's true. I feel like my mother was very, very anti any mental health things. Like, you know, I grew up in a house that was definitely, if you have a problem, you could take it to God. And I felt like that. I felt like I needed a little more than that. So
Yeah.
for
Sometimes you do.
Yeah. So for my 18th birthday, I made myself an appointment for a therapist on my own, and kind of did it behind my mom's back, and went to go I started seeing a therapist. In the first session, I mostly sat there and cried and couldn't talk. But then I started talking. And one of the things that I found out about myself through therapy is that I'm a perfectionist, just not the way I thought perfectionists were.
Tell me more.
I always had the idea that a perfectionist is someone who's like a straight A student, also on varsity athletic teams. You know, everything has to be right. Their
All the
room
sticky
is
notes.
the sticky notes, the binders.
Yeah.
You know, everything in
Same.
their room is organized. Like, I thought that's what a perfectionist was. And it was explained to me by a couple therapists that perfectionism does not always translate into those kinds of things. Like, perfectionism can also translate in a sort of like paralysis, which is when you want to do something, but you have such high standards for yourself that you almost can't even get started.
Oh my God, I have that. I have that. Oh my God. That's why I hate writing.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it, you know, like a lot of the worst things that have like decisions, I guess, any regrets that I have are all related to not doing, not something I've done. It's not doing. And it's something that like I battle with all the time, and it is like a kind of anxiety, and it is a source of anxiety. And I don't like it about myself, but I know that it's true, and it's better to know than to sort of be sitting around thinking that I'm just lazy or something's like just wrong with me that is, you know, irreparable.
Word.
One thing that I say to myself all the time now is every step I take is a first step. And it's might be on a path, but I don't have to stay on that path forever. And it's really easy for me to forget that sometimes. And I'll start to think every step I take is sort of like, oh, that's the direction I'm going in for the rest of my life now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it just doesn't have to be that way. And it took me a really long time to understand that it didn't have to be that way, and that every step I take is just a step. And it's really an opportunity to find out what I like, or more importantly, find out what I don't like.
Word. Another thing that really helped me was the simple quote, all a first draft has to do is exist.
Yep.
I was like, shit.
Yeah.
You're right.
A quote that really helped me a lot, well, it helps me when I remember to remember it, is a writer. I can't remember exactly how it goes. It's by Thomas Mann. A writer is someone for whom the act of writing is harder than it is for other people.
Yeah.
Dope. I have so many more questions, but we should move into pew, 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 pew.
Let's do it.
Pew, pew, pew. If you could have a lifetime supply of anything, what would it be?
Lotion.
Interesting.
I feel like the hardest thing in my life sometimes is just knocking the rust off my ankles. Like just getting all.
Sorry, what?
That's what my. I guess that's what maybe how my grandma used to describe it is knocking the rust off when you ashy, and she'd be like, if you don't go knock the rust off the elbows,
my God.
you know, and stuff like
Rust.
that. I feel like I'm just like preternaturally ashy. Like there's just something, like I got advanced evolved ash, and I'm constantly trying to like
God.
just get it off.
Oh
so
my
I
God.
need a
Sounds
lot
like the
of
worst
lotion.
Pokemon.
Gotta get it off.
Gotta get it off.
Did you really give up pettiness for Lent?
I tried. I tried. You know, a lot of shit just happened over Lent that begged for me to be petty. I feel like I felt real tested. Like I felt like the Job of pettiness. Like I felt like as soon as I was like, this is what I'm going to do, the Lord was just like, nah, but what about this? I know you got some feelings about this. And I'm always trying to be more positive. I think in general, people think of me as a positive person and not necessarily a messy or a petty person. But I know my thoughts.
You know your heart.
I know my own heart. And I do have like those moments of, you know, just being mean just to be mean. Like, you know, or not even like mean, just like, you know, somebody says something and I know something and I'm not going to say it, but you know what I mean? Like, I definitely have those. And I thought, what if I just tried not to? Like, what if I tried to redirect and not, you know, react that way to things and just be, you know, like genuinely on some like, you know, to each their own type shit. And it just didn't work out. Like, it just didn't.
You can't escape the petty.
You really can't.
I feel like we
Like,
should all collectively embrace our pettiness.
I agree.
I think
It's human.
after trying to go without it, I have to tell you that I think you're right. And I think it's here's why I think it's important. I think it's important because part of the reason why pettiness is petty is because in general, it doesn't lead into some bigger thing about a small issue. You know, like that's why it's petty. It's because it's kind of small.
Right.
Like you didn't even have to go there. And it's like,
You didn't have to do this. You could
you
have
didn't
saved
even have
some
to do
energy.
this. And you're like, you're right. I didn't. But it's important that I did so that I didn't like add it to some mountain of pettiness, which eventually becomes resentment. And resentment is different from pettiness.
I'm a fan of petty. Let it out. Just let it out.
We're planning a
Pro
petty
petty.
party
Petty
somehow
party.
Yeah.
with like maybe pedicures.
You get pedicures and be petty together.
No, not pedicures.
We'll send you an invite. So this is becoming one of my favorite uncomfortable questions to ask people, and I feel like this is asking you this question just feels right. This feels good to me. Would you rather watch a tape of your parents having sex or have all of your colleagues watch a sex tape that you and your partner made?
This is tricky. This is very, very tricky. You know what? I suppose I suppose I'd probably be cool with everybody watching a sex tape of me and Bae. If for no other reason than the fact that, like, I don't do anything I'm ashamed of. I don't know what the hell my parents did, and I might be ashamed of it. I might not be okay with it. Yeah, nah, I don't want to see it. And it's not even like I don't want to see it. It's more so like, I don't know. First of all, you have... Yeah, let's just leave it at that. And I would rather, like, my peers see me boning. I also don't have... I might have weirdness sometimes about, like, my weight and about, like, the shape of my body and things like that. But I, for some reason, have no weirdness about nudity. I just really don't care. I've always felt like if somebody got a sneak peek of something, they should just go ahead and feel blessed and keep it moving.
On that note, this has been wonderful. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Where can people find you and your work?
People can find me on Twitter at iSmashFizzle. They can find me on Tumblr and Instagram at SmashFizzle. And you can see any of my work on my website at ashleyc4.com.
Amen. Everybody follow her. It's worth it.
I love you guys. Thanks for having me.
Too. Please come back again.
Maybe someday.
All right, maybe.
Hey, guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time to buy rounds, Tracy.
Yay! Who's yours for?
I would like to buy a round for the ends of sliced bread.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why y'all out here wilding these streets, acting like it's not bread, acting like you can just throw away food.
No, it's bread. It's just the worst part of a loaf of bread.
Okay, it's not your favorite part, but it's a solid piece of bread. It's wild to me that people actually throw them out. You can make a solid sandwich with that bread.
Nobody enjoys
Oh
sandwiches
my
made
God.
out of the booty ends.
Okay, whoa.
Y'all didn't call them the booty ends? The butt ends? The booty butt ends?
The booty ends?
Of the bread, yeah.
So you're like, hey, Mom, can you pass me the booty ends?
Yeah. Or like you go to make a sandwich and there's only those last two pieces left. You're like, oh, these are the booty ends. I don't want them.
Okay, two parts of that is wild. One, you're throwing away bread.
You're right. I am a wasteful human.
I just don't know how we culturally got to a point where we thought that was acceptable.
It's not good.
Put some respect on bread, okay? Put some respect on it. That's all I have to say.
I probably will never eat the booty ends of it.
Really?
Probably not. I mean, I have before. So there's this thing that I do where like I do feel bad about throwing out the ends of the bread. So I'll just keep them in the refrigerator. And then like in a month's time, I just have like 6 booty ends in the refrigerator. And I'm just like, I'm not going to eat these. I need to throw them away.
You gotta get the booty ends out of my fridge. Sound like a sociopath. I also would like to throw in, you can toast them and tear off some pieces and make like your own little pita chip situation. Dip it in some hummus. I don't know how you feel about hummus, but everybody else rocks with it. Just as an aside.
I'm happy to send you all of the booty ends of my bread.
Oh my God, free bread? Are you kidding me? Yes, I'm in. Who are you buying around for, Trace?
I am also buying around for a food product.
Ooh.
I'm buying around for quiche.
Oh.
Quiche. Oh.
Sorry. I can I know
Excuse
you like
me?
it, and it's so weird to me.
I love it. I just
Such a
think it's
strange
the
texture.
perfect breakfast food.
I don't think I've had a good quiche.
Oh, man.
What
I've
is
never
it
had
about
bad
quiche that you like? You've never had bad
I've
quiche?
never had bad quiche.
I feel like that's a dish that can easily be bad.
I've never had bad quiche. Listen, you got a nice flaky buttery crust,
Uh-huh. I'm in.
right?
Yes.
You have lots of cheese.
Okay.
I'm in. And then you have other delicious things you like. Maybe some spinach, maybe some tomatoes if you get down with tomatoes like that. You know? And it's just a delicious like little breakfast pie. And I love it so much.
Breakfast pie.
It's
Whoa.
a breakfast pie. I get so excited to see that there's quiche on the menu.
You
So
do. I've
excited.
seen it.
Right.
I've seen
When
it.
we were in Michigan, they had 2 different kinds of quiche. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
And one of them it was like a sweet quiche, which I've never had before.
What do you mean by sweet?
It had like cranberries and stuff in it. It was like sweet and savory, but like just
So it was straight up a pie.
no, it was still quiche. It was still like a breakfast pie because it also had like cheese and shit.
Breakfast pie. That's not a thing.
It is a thing and it's called quiche. I love it. I love quiche. I love quiche. Quiche.
Stop. Oh, shout out to Keisha, I guess.
Shout out to Keish, definitely.
Okay.
We did it.
We made it.
This was a great episode.
Oh my God, I had so much fun. Shout out to Stacey Marie.
Eternal
Always.
shout out to
Always.
Stacey Marie. And shout out to Ashley Ford, who is my favorite Indianian.
The only one.
The only one.
Favorite Hoosier? I hate that phrase. But shout out to Hoosiers. Shout out to the Pod Squad.
Pod Squad. Yes, strong
I'm
air
leaning
horn.
into it.
I can retire from the air horn. This episode was produced by Eleanor Kagan and Antonia Sarahito with production help from Julia Ferlin and Mick Kramer. Thank you to Paul Ruest at Argo Studios, who makes the best tea in the business.
Facts.
Thank you to our super talented musician friends for blessing us with music for the podcast. You can follow them both. Follow Jean Grey on Twitter at Jean Greasy and follow Don Will of the rap group Tanya Morgan at DONWILL. Thank you to Optimus Prime.
Aw. Shout out to Tracy Curls Poppin' Clayton.
Oh,
I see you.
Yes.
I see you.
I'm changing all of my resumes to say Tracy Curls Poppin' Clayton.
Yes. Follow Tracy at Brokey McPoverty. Find out about her moisturizing routines.
And follow Heaven on Twitter at Heaven Rants.
Where I be ranting.
Per usual.
Usual.
Sign up for the freaking newsletter, y'all. It is so good. We're just trying to upgrade your life.
Let me
Sign
upgrade
up.
you.
Yes.
As the prophet Beyonce said. Go to BuzzFeed.com/anotherround/newsletter to sign up.
Yep, and get goodness in your inbox once a week.
Let love in is what we're saying. Check out our other BuzzFeed podcasts like Internet Explorer, The Tell Show, and our newest politics show, No One Knows Anything.
No one knows anything.
They should totally have the game show music.
They should. Welcome to. And hit us on the buzz.
We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We had another round.
Another round on all the things.
All the things. Email us anotherround@buzzfeed.com. Rate us on iTunes. There's still time for you to nominate us for Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes. Please do that multiple times.
Just think about the peace we brought to the world.
Yeah. Drink some water, take your meds, call your person.
Call your person.
If you can, go snuggle a dog. It'll probably make you feel so
or
much
a
better.
baby.
Also a baby. You can snuggle a baby.
Shout out to babies.
I'm gonna snuggle a baby soon, my nephew.
Oh,
He's crawling now. I can't do.
That's so cute.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a bang up time.
That okay.
That's
That
the thing
doesn't sound
people say.
convincing, but yes.
It is.
Bang up time. We're getting down at the ho nanny. Ho nanny.
The whole nanny. Do not talk about my nanny like that. She is a good